Hello everyone, my name is Amy and I'm a knitter, designer and tech editor coming to you from County Durham in the northeast of England. In today's episode I'm going to be talking about what I am wearing, finished objects, works in progress, future plans, I've got a pattern highlight and I've also got some book recommendations at the end too. Before we jump in today, I just want to say thank you to everybody for your comments and feedback on my previous videos. It's really appreciated and I do appreciate read and try and reply to every single one of them. I'd also really like to thank Sophie for the suggestion of, in the previous episode when I was talking about picking up stitches around a neckline, of recording a small tutorial just to illustrate what I'm talking about. So that is definitely on the cards and something that's on the list after I've recorded this podcast video as well. Today I've got a flat white in my Never Not Knitting cup. This is amazing, made by Pottery by Isla, who I'll link below. I've got a couple of Isla's mugs now and some of her ceramic ghosts as well, which if you follow me on Instagram you'll also see. And this is just the perfect size for a small coffee. And yeah, I absolutely love it. So let's jump straight in. What I am wearing today, I am wearing Ranunculus by Midori Hirose. This is knit in Eden Cottage Yarns Brim and Fluff in the colour Dusk. I'm going to pop in some b-roll here so you can see me wearing it and you can see what it looks like. This is the really flowy, soft, squishy, but also super warm version of my ranunculi. This version is knit in a single strand of a brushed merino and nylon yarn. So it looks a bit like a Syrian, it looks a bit like a mohair, but it's actually a brushed merino. And it's really, really super, super soft. And it's also very, very warm. And it's also a very warm day, so we'll see how far I get wearing this today. Absolutely love it, really enjoyed this. So I might as well jump into finished objects and tell you a little bit more about it. So as I mentioned, the pattern is Ranunculus by Midori Hirose. It's available on Ravelry, and I'm just going to check my notes. It's available in 48 to 70.75 inches bust circumference. Now this is meant to be a really oversized, floaty, circular top-down yoke design, so you can actually fit quite a range of sizes within that parameter depending on how much ease you want. Spoilers, I have another version of this, but actually the ease is very, very different, which I'll pop in some comparison images when I get to that point as well. The cost of the pattern is £4.89, and since I got the pattern it's actually been changed to include some smaller sizes. So the size I made is size 1 based on the old pattern, and I believe this has probably been more like a size 3 in the new version, so they did actually put in some smaller sizes. Just checking my notes, I knit this on a 6mm needle in the Eden Cottage Yarns Fluff. Just to give you a little idea, it's super soft. I absolutely love this. It's knit top down in the round. It's a circular yoke design with a short amount of raglan shaping underneath as well. I opted for the short sleeve version of the top this time round. So you just bind off the stitches as you get to the armholes and then you continue knitting the body down. So in terms of how long it took me to take, I'm just checking my notes, it took me from the 8th to the 27th of May to make. So it didn't take me too long in terms of how I normally go with knitting projects. I'm quite pleased with that. And I always want to ask myself the question of, would I make this again? Spoilers, yes, because I already have. And did I make any modifications? So on this version, I shortened it a little bit. So I only did about 1 inch of rib instead of 3 inches because I was losing the will to live by the time I got to the bottom of the body. And I had another project that I was just really excited about and wanted to get on with. So that's the modification that I made. I did the small neckline, but it's actually turned out quite wide. And this, I don't know if this is because of the combination that I cast it on with this type of yarn or what, but I used a 5mm needle for the rib and the hem as well. But it's actually come out quite a wide neckline, but I like it. I think this sits really, really well. It blocked really beautifully and I really enjoy wearing it. The one thing I don't like about this pattern are the lifted stitches, so I'm just going to prop myself up. If you've never knit a ranunculus before, this bit here, which I'll try and show on the b-roll as well, these are lifted stitches and I really don't enjoy doing them, and particularly in like a single strand of a very, very fluffy yarn, I just didn't enjoy that process. So I think if I were to knit another one, I would probably omit them from the bottom of the yoke and just do them on the top, because they're different sizes. They're bigger at the top and they're smaller at the bottom, but I think they look a little bit messier. So that's kind of the thing that I would change next time. However, I have already knit two. So I'll move on and show you the second one. So here we go. This is the second version that I made. This colour is absolutely unbelievable. So here you can see the garment in all its glory. I will also pop in some B-roll of me wearing it, so you can see how different this one fits to the one that I'm actually wearing now. This hasn't been wet blocked, this has just been steamed because I've just woven the ends in. But this one is actually quite a bit smaller. This is knit in the Rainbow Heirloom Solo Sock, I believe it's called, yes, and Kid Silk in the colourway Jewel Sea. And it's a really, really rich kind of bluey green. It's absolutely gorgeous. So I bought this yarn at Tangle Galashiels when I went to the festival, which you might have seen in one of my previous vlogs. And I just wanted something really rich and really jewel toned. And so this yarn just spoke to me. I love Rainbow Heirloom yarns. They're really beautiful. So this is what I made with it. I did the longer rib on this one. So this one actually has the full length rib, but it actually feels shorter than the one that I'm wearing, even though the one that I'm wearing is an inch shorter as per it's been knit. So hopefully when I do wet block this will actually grow quite a bit, and hopefully it'll feel similar in terms of dimensions. The neckline on this one is really small though, and I did think that when I was casting it on. I kept trying it over my head when it was on the small needle, and yeah, it does feel a lot closer. I do like the fit of it, but it does feel very different to this one. So maybe that's just the difference of using different yarns. This is two yarns held together. I used the same size needle. I used the same size pattern and knit it pretty much exactly the same, other than I knit the hem on this one a little bit longer, but this one feels like it's turned out a little bit smaller. So I possibly could have gone up a needle size. But either way, I really, really like it. I think it'll go perfect with high-waisted jeans. I think it's that perfect kind of in-between layer when a day when it's maybe a little bit cooler. You can just pop a little vest top on. Instead of having a long sleeve jumper, just pop this on over the top. So I really love it. I've made two of them in quite a short space of time. I'll just check my notes. This took me from the 3rd to the 24th of June to make. And originally I had challenged myself, could I knit a ranunculus in a week? So the answer is no, but I probably could have made one in a week if I hadn't got distracted by something else. So it's just one of those things. And the thing I got distracted by is one of my works in progress. So the work in progress that distracted me were these socks. Just hold these up so you can get a really good view of the yarn. This yarn is absolutely stunning. Also, my nails are really cool this month. I've got strawberries and lemons. They're not zoom, not focusing. So this is the basic ribbed sock by Kate Atherley. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. It goes from a 7-inch foot circumference to a 9.5-inch foot circumference. It calls for 100 grams of sock weight in all sizes, but it's also really customizable, so you can change the length of it, and it's kind of almost, I think it's like every 4 stitches you can just increase and do your regular sock size. It's got a regular heel flap and gusset turn, and it's got a nice quite rounded toe. I really like this pattern because you knit a little bit straight and then you do some decreases and then you do some round straight and then some decreases, and it's a really nice fit. So this is what distracted me. I knit this quite quickly. I haven't cast the second one on yet though, that's the only thing. So this yarn is called The Undying Lands and it's from the Wool Chemist. I saw it at Tangle Galashiels and had to get it because it was a Lord of the Rings reference. It was sparkly and it just spoke to me. I mean, those colours are just, yeah, they're amazing. It's just really ethereal and I had to get it, so I did. And it turns out that Ronnie from the Wool Chemist is also a massive Lord of the Rings fan, which is awesome. So we had a good chat about Lord of the Rings and the other colourways that she does and the advent that she done a couple of years ago as well. So really, really enjoyed meeting Ronnie, seeing her beautiful yarns, which if you look at my Tangle Galashiels vlog, you'll be able to see for yourselves, and just had to knit this sock. So this one, I have knit the perfect length to just pop out the top of a pair of Converse high tops. So this has eluded me for a little while, and I've looked for socks that are specifically written to just pop out the top of your high tops. So not like this much out, just kind of this much over the tongue. And this is perfect. So that's about 4 inches for me to fit perfectly. So that's the thing I always struggle with. If I want to wear woolly socks, I either have full length socks or I have kind of ankle socks, but nothing in between. These are a perfect in between and I mostly wear Converse, to be honest, so they work perfect and I absolutely love them. So that is one of my works in progress, the basic ribbed socks by Kate Atherley, which is available for free on Ravelry. My next work in progress you would have seen in my first knitting podcast video, and that is my lacy summer top design. And here it is. So I've made quite a bit of progress on it since the last video, so I'm just going to pop it up so you can see that now. So I'm really pleased with how this is turning out. As you can see, I've now joined the body in the round and I'm just working my way down to the bottom. So this is born out of my constant frustration of wanting a summer top but not being able to find quite the right style. I've got quite broad shoulders from doing aerial, and some styles just look a bit frilly on me, they don't suit me, and I just wanted something quite sporty, but something that was going to be adjustable for the straps as well, because I have a very short torso. So this is I-cord straps, and you simply tie them together and it works a treat. So it's 2 pieces, it's knit flat on the front and then the back, and then it's joined together under the arms. It's got this lovely garter stitch edging and this diamond pane lace. So something really simple. This is graded to my size at the moment. The body is just going to be, so it's kind of got a little bit of positive ease. I wanted it to be kind of neutral ease really, but I've ended up with a little bit of positive ease, but it looks really good. The armhole depth is just about right. As you can see, I'm just working my way down to the bottom. And I think I've probably got another 4 pattern repeats of the lace and then I'll be finished. I've only got this much yarn left. So I got 2 skeins of this yarn, which is this. So this is BC Garn Biobalance, and this is the colourway Azure. It is 55% organic wool and 45% organic cotton. It's a really, really lovely yarn to work with. It feels like on a summer's day you would want this next to your skin, because it feels, I always hear people say dry, and I said this in my previous video, it feels quite dry, but it does, and I think that would feel quite nice against your skin, that it's not kind of taking in all the moisture and it's not making you feel hot and sticky. It feels really lovely, and it's very light. It's a very, very light yarn. You can probably tell I'm in the process of putting the stitches back onto the knitting needle, having tried it on again. And I'm really, really happy with how it's going, to be honest. I don't know if I'll release it as a pattern. It's too late for this year, because we're now into, the end of June, and I don't know how quick it would take me to get it tech edited and then tested. But I think if there is interest, if you're interested in it, if you like the design, I might consider writing it up and then releasing it next year, so I can give people plenty of time to test knit. It is quite a quick knit, to be honest. It's knit on 3.5mm needles. I'm using my new Chiago tips, which I am absolutely in love with and just want to make everything in them. They just make knitting so much more pleasurable for me. And I can't wait to get it finished, because I really want to wear it. I just love this really simple straight neckline. It's just a couple of rows of garter stitch. They are rolling a little bit though, so I may have to tweak that a little bit. But that's what the whole designing process is about. When you knit your sample, you think, okay, well, I'll change that next time. The I-cords are simply picked up 4 stitches from the end of the row. You pick up 4 stitches and do a 4-stitch I-cord for 12 inches, for this size anyway. And it's the same on all the corners. So this was made generally when we were watching the wrestling on a night. I was just sitting kind of knitting I-cord. It was really quick, really easy, and I found that 12 inches seemed to work just about right for my size. I'm really, really happy with it. So yeah, if you're interested in me releasing this as a design, please do let me know. I'm open to suggestions. If you're not, that's fine. I'll just keep it as a design for myself. But I'm really enjoying it. It is currently charted, and there will be written instructions as well. So I always write these things as I go. Otherwise, I'll forget what I did. So I do write it down. I write the pattern as I go. And then if I decide to go back to it or not, that's a decision for the future. My final work in progress is also another design, which is really rare and really unusual. I'm not going to be throwing loads of new designs at you every month. It's just every now and again I will release something as a designer, and I'm just going through that phase at the moment. So my second pattern are the foxglove socks, and here they are so far. So I am really, really happy with how these have gone so far. These are knit taupe with a contrast colour, and then into the main body you then pop in a stitch marker just 2 inches below where you feel your heel should be, I'm not a huge fan of heel flap and turn heels from the bottom up. So this is going to have an afterthought heel, but a true afterthought heel, and my modified version of that, which I'll show you the details of on another sock in a moment. And then as you get to the top, you've got this beautiful foxglove details. So I was really inspired by, in our garden, we've just had a lot of work done in our garden, and we've got some beautiful foxgloves flowering. And I just got really inspired, and I saw this bell design stitch pattern, and I thought they really look like foxgloves. So on this side they're pink, and then on this side there's bits of green in them as well. And I'm really, really happy with how these have turned out. I may make some tweaks before the pattern is released, but I'm really, really happy. There's then a 1x1 twisted rib cuff, which has a stretchy bind off. It does wave a little bit, which I do find is often a problem with toe-up socks, sorry. However, I might look and tweak that a little bit, but I think once it's on the leg, it'll kind of straighten out a little bit. So I'm really happy with that. And this yarn has just worked so beautifully in this pattern. It's almost come out with this little micro stripe, which is not what I was expecting at all. And on the subject of the yarn, that kind of takes me on to my future plans. So I'll move on to the next section because it's all interlinked. So I've made the decision as a designer that I'm going to start to dye my own yarn to support my own designs. And this is a really exciting opportunity. I've dyed yarn on and off for years, I've designed on and off for years, and I just wanted to bring the two together. So sometimes when I'm planning a design, I can't find the exact yarn that I want, there's something in my head and I just can't get it out. And this just feels like another way of creative expression coming out, and to bring those two together and to marry the pattern and the yarn together. And I think that's quite a unique thing to do, is to kind of have that idea, this is what the designers want, and this is very specifically what I want the yarn to be. So this is my own hand-dyed yarn, and the yarn is here. I'll get that to show you. So this is Foxglove, and this will be released as a sock set when the pattern is released. So this is the main skein, and this is the contrast skein. I'm absolutely 100% delighted with how this has turned out. So in my head, foxgloves are pink and they're green, and they're different shades of pink, and they're speckly, and sometimes they're peachy, but there's always that really kind of in-between colour that's kind of, it's very pale green, or it's not quite pink. As the buds of the flower are starting to form, it's like almost a cream with a hint of green, or a cream with a hint of pink, and I've really managed to capture that in this yarn, and I am so happy with how this has turned out. So you've got from pale greens through to the deeper green and that beautiful pink as well. And then I dyed the mini skein to match, so that is a semi-solid green to go with it, and that's how it is looking when it's sitting up. So I'm absolutely delighted with this. This will be released as a kit, but you'll also be able to buy the pattern separately as well, of course. And the yarn will be available on my website, so that is knitwithamy.co.uk. So I've decided to put it on my main website because then that kind of keeps everything in one place together, my tech editing contact, my patterns, but also my products as well. So I'm not going to be going crazy, I'm not going to be doing every colour under the sun in every base. I'm keeping it really simple to start with. So this yarn is absolutely delightful to knit with. So this is 85% merino, which is a 19.5 micron count. So it's really soft. It's next to skin loveliness, but also hard wearing on feet because it's got 15% nylon in there as well. So I chose to get this yarn, and I've bought a big batch of it, so I'm going to be working my way through that. So as well as the foxglove colour, we've also got a Lavender Dreams colourway, which will be released at the same time. So if pink and green isn't quite your thing, we've got another colourway which is coming too, and that is this one. So this is Lavender Dreams, and I love this one too. So this is a pink, it's the same pink, but it's got a tonal purple through that. So it goes light to kind of medium tones, and then you've got a semi-solid darker purple contrast for your heels and toes and cuffs. This is a bit of a sneak preview of my ball band, which are currently still in production, but just to give you an idea of this is what it could look like. And then on the back it's got the yarn information there. So it's squishy sock set, which is a fingering weight, 400 meters per 100 grams. you get 80 metres in your 20 gram mini skein, your 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon, and this colourway is Lavender Dreams. So I'm so excited with these first two colourways and these first two sock sets. So they'll be launched together when the Foxglove pattern is launched. So the pattern is pretty much written. I'm going to finish this sock hopefully later today, and I'm going to do a tutorial on what the heel looks like. So I'll show you the heel on another sock. So I don't know if this has a name. Sock knitters out there, please tell me what the name is for this heel, because I just kind of freestyled it because I thought it would work. So this is an afterthought heel, but it's a spiral. So like on the crown decreases of a hat, it's essentially the same but on the heel of the sock. And what I really like about it is it just hugs the foot a lot better. So you've got a couple of rows of plain knitting, and you then put markers in, and you then decrease down to so many stitches. And this one I have grafted the few stitches at the end there. You could potentially do it down into a circle and then cinch it closed. I just thought the graft would provide a little bit more strength in the heel. So these are really old Fab Funky Fibres rainbow socks. I started these on a train home from Edinburgh after meeting my nephew one day, and I got carried away with how long the leg of the sock was, so I ended up putting an afterthought heel in, and I just knit a massive tube. This yarn is amazing and wears for just forever. I have a pair of Fab Funky Fibres rainbow socks from 2011 that I still wear, so that just goes to show how awesome their sock yarn is. So yeah, this is what the heel is going to look like on this sock as well. So the pattern will then be finalised, it'll be sent off to my tech editor, and then once it's available for testing, I will announce that in another episode of the podcast, and then hopefully we can get that all released, get the pattern tested and tweaked, and then released into the wider world so you can get your hands on some of this gorgeous squish. And then as I was experimenting around with these colours, I then came up with something completely different, but I've totally fallen in love with. So this one's just out of frame on my pegboard, so I'll see if I can get it down. It's well and truly stuck. Here we go. So this one, I love this so much. So this one is called Too Many Tequila Sunrises. And I just wanted to play around with brighter colours. I had some dye stock left and I thought, oh, what can I do with this? So this is really orangey pink with orange. There are some hints of yellow in there. You can see some yellow in there. It also has some speckles of pink in there, which have kind of blended in, but you can just subtly see them through this area here. So the reason for this name is it's a bit of a tribute to my mum. So when I was a kid, we went on holiday to Menorca when I was probably, I think I was 10 or 11, and my mum burnt her nose in the sun. And when we came home, because I was such a delightful little child, I told everybody she got drunk on too many tequila sunrises and fell over. And it had always been a joke for years and years, and my mum was always saying how cheeky I was, and I just felt I had to name it that because it does look like a tequila sunrise, and she would really, really love that and appreciate it. And she'd been knitting socks out of it as well. So this will also be available on the website soon. So I'm really, really happy. It's the same base. You can see that, Too Many Tequila Sunrises, but that's just the single skein squishy sock. And yeah, I'm really delighted with this. It's just, the colours are just, yeah, have a little, you can see there's yellow in there, there's softer pinks, and then this really rich orangey pink. It's just delicious. So I've had a lot of fun dyeing, and I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to do it in waves. So as I release maybe a new hat pattern, I'll then release the yarn to support that. So if there's anything you're interested in seeing, do let me know. I am totally open to suggestions. And on the topic of other future plans, my next cast on, or one of my next cast ons, is going to be the Light and Easy sweater, or the Easy and Light sweater by Ooh La La Knitwear, which I will pop in the link below, the actual proper name, in this yarn. Are you ready for this? Because this is just, it's amazing. So I went to the Cumbrian Wool Show last Sunday, and I was chatting to Amy of Mamie and Florrie, and she had a sample of this jumper in this yarn. So this is the Mega Mohair in the colour Oklahoma. So this is 78% kid mohair, 13% wool, 9% nylon. It's a DK weight, and you get 200 metres per 100 grams. And I think it's actually blown out a little bit on camera. It's so pink. And when you wind it, the skein is like almost the size of your face. It's ginormous. So the jumper for my size only takes 2 skeins of this yarn. It's really, really soft, but it's very, very hairy as well. I'm just so in love with it. It's incredible. So this is going to be my next cast on. It's knit on 10mm needles, and it's a top down raglan jumper with a loose fit, and it's got large balloon sleeves. So I'm really excited for this. I think it'll look amazing with high-waisted jeans. I think it'll be a really good throw-over for days when it's a bit chilly. Just pop a vest on underneath it like the ranunculus, but this will be a longer sleeve. And I mean, Amy from Amy and Florrie does the best colours, but this pink, I just couldn't not bring it home. One of my friends was saying, do you need more pink? You got pink from here last year. And I says, yes, but I did knit with it. So yes, I did need more pink, and yes, it did come home with me. So I cannot wait to cast this on. Once the sock is finished, this will get cast on. And I'm currently stashing this yarn in my, what's it called? Pink hazel bag. And this is a spooky Halloween one, so it's totally not seasonally appropriate, but I love it. Look how cool this bag is. And it's really big. So it's got haunted houses and things on it. So it's staying in there with my super large needles. So I've just destashed most of my knitting needles to a friend because I wasn't using them because I had too many, and then I had to go out and buy another set of needle tips because I didn't have any 10mm needles left. Oops. Now we're moving on to my pattern highlight of this episode. So every episode, what I'd like to do is highlight an independent designer who's just recently released a pattern that I've totally fallen in love with. And today, well, I've fallen head over heels. I have seen the pattern in its kind of creation coming up. I knew it was coming, but this is the Stolen Silver Spoons Lite by Nicole Larkin York of Common Thread Fibre. So I'm going to read from my notes so I can give you an accurate description. So it fits for a 28 to a 68 inch bust. Nicole is incredible at doing size inclusivity. So yeah, and she's a great designer. I've worked with Nicole as a tech editor. She's a lovely human, but also designs awesome patterns. She's a massive Lord of the Rings fan, and this is a pattern themed on the hobbits. She does have a heavier weight version of this as well, so if you look in the links below, you'll be able to find out more about these. It is knit on a 4-ply fingering base, 3.5mm needles. And from the pattern page it says, Stolen Silver Spoons Lite is a V-neck raglan worked in overall stockinette stitch with accent lace. Compound raglan shaping, optional A-line shaping and optional bust darts are included for a tailored fit. The lace motif continues down the entire body, and there is a lookbook available for you to plan your knits. So I've linked that below as well. So Nicole's put all the information that you're going to need in there to make this design. And I absolutely love it. It's just exactly what I feel like I need right now. So I've got the giant pink mohair, which I'm going to be naming the Muppet Jumper because it looks like someone skinned a Muppet, and I absolutely love it. And then something really contrasty, this is going to be knit in Eden Cottage Yarns Keld Fingering, which is their merino linen base, and it's in the colour Duck Egg. So I've shown that in a previous video as well when I bought it from the Spring into Wool show, and I absolutely think this yarn and this pattern combination together is just so perfect. And then when it gets a little bit colder, I can then knit the heavier version, which is knit in a worsted weight and is a more fitted crop version with longer sleeves. But do go and check out Nicole's patterns. It's just come out like a couple of days ago. I urge you to go and have a look for yourself. Now let's move on to my crafty book recommendations. So I've knit for a very long time. I've knit since 2010. And over the years, I've curated quite an extensive library of pattern books, of technique books, and useful resources. So every episode I also want to highlight a book that might be something I use in my everyday knitting that I find really useful. It's got good techniques in. It might be a resource that designers might find helpful, and then sometimes it might just be that it's a really pretty pattern book and I need to share the beautiful designs with you. So today I want to showcase a collection of books that I don't really see recommended anywhere, but have really, really helped me on my knitting journey over the years. And those are books by Margaret Radcliffe. Now I have no idea why I don't see these books everywhere and why people aren't singing from the rooftops about these books, because they are so, so good. So I'm going to start with the first book, which is The Knowledgeable Knitter. This is an incredible resource for anyone who knits. It just covers pretty much anything and everything. And even now, when I'm working on a design or if I'm looking for a technique, I often don't go to the internet and go to this book and have this as a resource because it's just so useful. So, shaping necklines, there's information in here about how to shape a scoop neck or a wider round neck or a round neck. She basically goes from the beginnings and takes you right through. So you've got how to choose pattern yarn and needles, how you would plan your project thinking of cast-ons, how you would center pattern stitches, how you would finish, how you can modify your pattern, so things like changing colour or stitch patterns, adding embellishments, changing borders, shaping and fitting, how to change that, how to look at things like understanding knitting instructions, disguising the jog in your knitting, how to make changes, fix mistakes, how to put it all together, so your finishing techniques. Then there's borders, bindings and embellishments. And there's things in here that I don't see in many other places, and to be honest, it kind of blows my mind that the amount of information in this book is absolutely incredible. There's stuff in here about converting from flat to circular when you're making patterns. There was something I saw the other day which I thought was really useful, and it was about how to increase if your neckline is too deep, which is something I was talking about in my previous video about a neckline being too wide. But if your neckline is too deep, how you can add extra fabric to it. And I hadn't seen that anywhere else, and I thought that was really good. So here we are. So you can add extra fabric. She's done it in a contrast colour here just so you can see. But just to make your neckline a little bit shallower. So it's such an incredible resource. I really, really recommend this one. So that was the first one, the Knowledgeable Knitter. I've popped links below as well so you can see all of those. The second one is the Circular Knitting Workshop. So this book, as a designer, is incredibly useful in terms of just helping you think about how you shape things. It goes, oh, actually, that heel's in here. Oh, I didn't actually know that, but the heel that I did here it is. That spiral heel. So I need to go and look into this book and actually find out what it's called, because I knew it was an original idea, but I didn't know what it was called. So there we go, I've learned something already. So it takes you through various different circular projects. So you start off, so you've got how to work in the round, finishing techniques, how to convert from flat to circular. You start with a tube and then you go on to bags and hats. Then you've got scarves and shawls, socks, mittens and gloves, and then vests and sweaters at the end. So it takes you step by step through projects, and as it takes you through the projects, you're learning new techniques along the way. So if you're really nervous about knitting in the round and you want to make a sweater, this takes you very much from this is how to knit a tube right the way through to knitting something more complex like a sweater or a vest. And it's absolutely brilliant. She tells you how to work the different types of working in the round, magic loops, circulars, double pointed needles, and there's projects in here as well. So there's a scarf that you knit in the round. It's there. So you learn those techniques as you're making the project. So again, a fantastic resource, but also not, as I said, just for, you know, a regular, just want to learn and expand my skills kind of knitter, through to knitwear designers and everyone in between. And then the final one is the one that I've used least, because I don't do a huge amount of colourwork knitting. However, it's pretty much the same as the Circular Knitting Workshop, but it is about knitting with colour. So again, it's also got a really pretty cover. It's nice and colourful. So this is Colour Basics. You then go stripes to stitches, multicoloured yarn, stranded knitting, intarsia, other techniques, finishing touches, and then there's a design workshop section at the end as well. It's got different stitch patterns as you go through the book. And again, just a really, really useful resource, and things that you often might not see in other places. There's a nice section here which is helping you to choose colour arrangement in Fair Isle, which is something really important and something that stresses a lot of people out when they're working on colourwork projects. And yeah, it goes right the way through to learning how to design your own pattern or modifying your own pattern, and then there's all the techniques and things at the end as well. So they're quite chunky books. They're quite hefty. I think they're all retailing in around about £20 in the UK at the moment on Amazon, but you may be able to get them from your local yarn shop. But I very rarely see these books around, but that's my recommendation. So there they are together. I know Margaret does some other books as well, but these ones are really incredibly useful resources that I actually go to instead of Googling things. So that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'd really appreciate it if you enjoyed this video, if you could give it a like, and if you want to see more of this kind of content, if you would subscribe to my channel as well. There are some vlog kind of videos on there, but I think I'm going to try and focus more on the knitting podcast content going forward, although there may still be some vlog content kind of as peppered in between as well. So thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again soon. In the meantime, take care and enjoy all your crafting. Bye.